There are three main ways in which you can model hard surface using sub-D. In this video I will show you how and when to use each of them. Let's go. So the three main ways in which you can approach sub-D are: number one, plane extrusion and shape exploration; number two, Boolean to quad; and number three, Boolean sculpt or import to Retopo. So now let's talk about all of them. Now before we start, let me tell you that if you're new to Blender and you are just starting with hard surface, I would recommend highly to grab our free course, which is called Jumpstart Hard Surface in Blender. Even if you are intermediate, I still think you're gonna learn quite a few nifty tricks. So go ahead and get it, it's free. The link is in the video description. This course will teach you just in a few hours all the tools, menus, the hard surface workflow, all the foundations you need to get started with Blender. Now, like I said, the course is free and the link is in the video description, so go ahead and get it. Now going back to sub-D. So let's start with the first method, which is gonna be extrusion. Now you can extrude edges, faces, verts, it doesn't really matter what it is. We're gonna go with verts, okay? So we're gonna start with this vert here and we're gonna extrude it here, then we're gonna extrude it here, and maybe one edge somewhere here and here, and then we're gonna go up on the z-axis and move it somewhere here. This one we're gonna move down and then up here. So a little bit too wide. I'm making a weapon grip, by the way. Something like this, and maybe you can just combine them here like that, okay? So we got this going on, and let's just align this, and then we need to simply select all, press F, and then press K. We could actually align these two as well. And we're just going to run quads here, like this. Maybe we're gonna combine these two here. All right, cool. And then we have all quads, so I can run a loop here or two, loop in here, and I think we're good because there's other loop in here as well. So this is the basic shape, kind of a profile. So now you can see that we extruded verts around to create this kind of a profile, and we have a flat surface. And now we're gonna be actually, sort of adding some dimensions to it. So we can bend this a little bit here, then press E and extrude it here. And extrude it like this, and we can just move everything in here and move origin to vert, Alt X to the other side, and then we're gonna grab this one and we can extrude it like this, Alt X to the other side. Let's make it a bit more narrow because it's too fat. Let's just scale it, so apply scale. We can add some sort of like depth in here as well. So we could grab these edges and push them a little bit outside like this. Okay, to create a bit of a, a little bit of a shape in here. Maybe move these ones a bit in. Actually, this is fine. Okay, so now we got this basic shape. It's a little bit too, it's a bit too short. So we could do is just scale it up a bit like this. And apply subdivision, and then we can just close it. So close it with faces here, and the same at the top. So we have quads everywhere. Okay, and then we can insert this top here a little bit, and maybe add an edge here, and do the same thing on the bottom. Bottom could be a little bit more loose. So let's shade it smooth, and you get a basic, weapon grip, and then you can start playing with this here. So we could, for example, add an edge in the middle, and move it in here like this to tighten the top, but at the same time move this one a bit to the middle and to the front to round up the bottom. So you're gonna have this kind of a nice sort of a pinch at the top and a softer bevel here in the bottom, right? You could even move this edge here a little bit to the back, sort of like here, to kind of create a better curvature over there, and dissolve this one in the middle. And there you go, and you can just actually make it a bit more tight in here. There you go, right? So this is how would I go about it, when I'm just, concepting. And later on, you can just start adding more details, okay? So this will be plain extrusion of a shape. Another example would be when you're working with a flat shape like this, and you're trying to, let me just grab a circle actually. When you're trying to create some shape on a flat surface, and then you simply extrude it for efficiency. So let me show you what I mean. Let me change the number of verts here to 12 because we don't need that many. We're gonna grab these and flatten them. Let's just align them here and mirror. So we're going to move them down here and scale them. Let's just grab this one and maybe extrude it inwards here like this and scale it. Okay, so we can actually delete this edge and these two. So we have something like this, and then we can simply, connect them. So J here, can't J, let me just put a face here. So we got the J here, and we connect these, and we connect these, and we also need to connect these here to the sides, right? And then we just gonna run an edge here maybe, and create a triangle here. You can solve this one later, don't worry about it. So we have a basic shape like this. And then let's say we wanted to add some more stuff to it. So let's say we wanted to add some, I don't know, some openings here. So let's say we're gonna add a circle and scroll it down. I just rotate it. There you go, and connect it here. This is a very quick draft, okay? This probably should be done a bit better because the quads have a different, different size. So let's just delete that alt text. Select all these edges, go to mesh tools and offset edges. There you go, and change to extrusion. And we get the supporting edge. Now you have, all the edges you need, so you can select everything right now and extrude it. And now when you do that, you're gonna have geo on both sides, so you don't have to, repeat the same thing on the bottom. And all you need really is just securing loops here and here, and you can technically run a subdivision on it. Shade smooth, of course, you can add some, supporting loops here and there if you want to, right? And you guys are gonna basic, basic shape in here, right? This one, there we go. Needed some cleaning here. We also need some loops in here to tighten it up. And Bob's your uncle, right? So this would be, a very fast shape creation from a plane, and then you extrude it. It's a bit easier to design stuff on a flat surface and then simply extrude it, okay? So this will be method number one. So this is method number one from extrusion. Second method is gonna be Boolean to quad. So let's say we have a cube here like this, right? And let's just apply scale, and we're gonna put some bevel here. 4 segments. Always remember to put 4 segments or multiplication of 4. It's gonna be easier to run quads on this mesh. Same here, I'm gonna go down to 4 bevels. Press J, E, and extrude it up. And we're going to mirror this and multiply. So now we have this shape. Let me just recalculate sharpen. And what we need to do now is we need to change this n-gon base mesh into quads, okay? So this is a simple Boolean mesh, and all you do is just simply convert it into quads. So first of all, what I would do here, I would select all the sharp edges. So go to select and select similar and sharpness. Control B, and then just make sure that I'm gonna change profile, press P, scroll down, and maybe this kind of a size will do. And we're gonna change this corner here from sharp, so click here on the bevel and change from sharp to arc, and it will change the way this corner is created. This is far better because it gives us a very nice base to run edges to it, okay? And click, and basically remove the sharp edges because we don't need them. And then all you need to do really is add simply loops to the mesh and connect the mesh in a way that you're gonna just end up with quads, okay? So have a loop in here and loop in here. So we can grab this one and align it and combine it, and same here. I'm using machine tools to align this. And you can only work on one side because the other side is going to be mirrored. And then we need some loops in here. We also need loops here. So K, click C to cut through, A to, and to cut a straight line, and boom. Connect these here like this, then connect these to create quads. This is why I wanted 4 segments here, right? That's why I told you it's important to have 4 segments. Here the same, we need a loop here, align this, press J, and then one more, align it, and J. I'll take to the other side, K, C, and A, click, click, and we also need to connect these. So we need one loop here, align it, and combine these. Then we need to combine these, run a quad, and Bob's your uncle. And we got quads here, same here, so quad, and combine that, alt X, and boom. And once you have all the quads, we still have to fix this one. So click CA 1, 2, and this one could be actually combined, moved in here. So press A to unlock this, do something like this, and then we could actually run a straight line here and here, and then alt A to the other side. So now this situation here depends how you want to run the loops. If you want to have a loop around here, this is what you would do. If you want to run them straight, you're going to be a bit different. Depends on what kind of detail you want in here, right? So once you have all the quads, you can start thinking how to rearrange this topology. Maybe you want to, make things a little bit, let me just fix this here, GG3. Maybe you want to move things about to make them a bit more even. Like for example, move this edge somewhere here to spread them about. Maybe you want to add more topology. It really depends on what you want to do, right? So this would be basically Boolean to quad workflow. And there's one more workflow, which is very different. You simply create a new topology on top of what you already created. So let's say you have a very complex Boolean shape, or you have sculpted mesh, or you have import from CAD software, which is going to be basically really, really messy in terms of topology. And you want to retopologize it, so you lay new sort of like a layer of topology on top of that mesh. Now, since the previous method was Boolean to quads, you may ask a question, well, what the hell would we need to retopologize Booleans? Well, sometimes a Boolean mesh could be so complex that connecting all the dots and all the verts, in order to create quad mesh would be very complicated to almost impossible. Sometimes it's much easier to actually retopologize something rather than convert it to quads, okay? So if you have something like this, when you have a cube, and let's say, I don't know, I'm just gonna riff some ideas in here, okay? So let's just fix this profile of this bevel to something like this. Yeah, this will do. And then we're gonna start stacking, some crazy booleans on top of it. So let's say we're gonna go to circle, and let's just drop a, kind of like a crazy boolean in here like this. All right. And we're gonna add a lot of verts in here for some reason, because we need it to be very dense, whatever, right? And press J. Now, if I'm going to start adding more stuff on top of this, let's say I'm going to add another circle in here. Let's say a boolean like this, and then I'm going to, let's say, add another circle somewhere here, right? And press J. And if I'm gonna apply this, combining all these would be basically close to impossible, okay? Because there's just too much going on. So it's easier to retopologize it. And the way you go about it is super simple, okay? All you need to do is simply add a plane and add some mud to it. I can do it with hard ups, okay? So it's a different color. And we're going to go here to snap menu, and first of all turn this magnet so it's going to be auto snapping. Click on face project and click on backface culling, okay? So it's going to be snapping to the surface. Now we're gonna shrink wrap it. So click here, shift click Q, and shrink wrap. And now you can't really see that a plane is on top here being shrink wrapped. What we want to do is we want to see that on top of it, right? So we want to go here to this menu, go to viewport display and click in front. That's one. And now you can see that the plane is being dragged on top of the surface. Another thing what you want to do is go to your shrink wrap modifier and enable the cage. So the cage is going to be actually aligning with the mesh, okay? So when you go to edit mode, it's going to be aligning with the mesh. So now what you want to do is you want to retopologize this mesh around. So let me show you, just, go around here and start creating mesh on, on top of this existing mesh. And the great advantage of doing it this way is that you can actually create your preferred topology flow from scratch. So for example, I can have this, topology flow around this cylinder here, and I can actually choose the density of topology, so I don't have to go with this crazy vert count here. And, it's really simple because you can use add-ons to your advantage. So here we can, extrude it up like this on the z-axis, or you can just do it manually like this and then use, for example, machine tools to fill it out. Something didn't work out in here, so let's fix this. Press 4, there we go. And you just continue around it. And the bigger the polygons you have here, the better, because it's going to be easier to manipulate with this mesh if you need to, right? And you simply retopologize the whole thing, going around, and once you do, you're gonna have a really clean mesh, because I'll show you. So let me just fix it here a little bit. And just, give some faces here. So we have a nice edge flow here around. So when I go here and, subdivide this, you see how clean this is, right? The connection here is super clean, and I can do whatever the hell I want with it. I can make it more, more tight. I can loosen it up. I can grab this loop and, move it further away to create a gentle transition. I can do whatever the hell I want. So, this is a really good method for very complex meshes, or meshes that are simply impossible to fix, like, CAD meshes. Because when you import something from CAD software like plasticity and you try to move any of the verts or change anything, you will have problem with normals and with shading, because these meshes come with custom normals and you can't really fix that in Blender, okay? So the retopology is going to be the only way to go about it. Now there is one more thing I want to talk about, and that's basically adding details to your mesh. And let's just grab this example in talk about adding details. Now it doesn't matter what kind of method you're using. If you want to add more detail to your mesh, whether it's created by extruding elements or Boolean to quad or retopology, you want to simply densify your topology in order to add more details. So when you are certain that your shape is what you want, like this is the basic shape I want, and I'm happy with that, and I'm ready to add details like say paneling, screws, etc. You cannot do this on this level because simply there's just topology is too big, and you have a curved mesh, and you'll be running into shading problems. So what you need to do is you need to apply at least one level of subdivision, right? And see if you have enough topo to start creating some details. So for example, if I wanted to now run a panel here, I actually can, because I have enough topo, to do that. So let's just run a panel here. I'm gonna chamfer this, and I'm going to inset it, and I'm gonna extrude it. And you can either delete that face or you can simply insert it, okay? It depends how deep it is. And if I'm going to run a subdivision now, you see we get this nice kind of a paneling line here. And the reason why it's so clean is because simply we're running a smaller topo on this mesh. So here on the side, if I wanted to create some kind of like, a screw, whatever, I can grab a vert, up in a circle. Let's just scroll to like 8 of them and then combine it. I don't know if it's gonna be enough. I don't know if this topology is small enough to support it, but we're gonna see in a minute. So let's just extrude it and insert it, and just run a loop here, and let's see. And it looks fine. So the curvature isn't that crazy here, but if I wanted to add some detail on this curvature, there's a good chance I would need more topology in here, okay? So it depends on where you're adding your details. And what you want to do, you just have to basically try something and see. If it's gonna work, you can create a duplicate of your mesh and create a backup, so you can always come back, because when you apply subdivision, you know, this is destructive, right? If I'm gonna apply one more level of subdivision here, right, so I'm gonna apply this, it's gonna be much denser, right? And I cannot go back. So this is gonna be very difficult to, you know, revert the changes. Anyway, so these would be, you know, approaches to sub D you could take, depending on what you're creating and what you want to achieve. You know, depending on what you're building in Blender and, you know, how you want to go about it, you can use different ones. Sometimes it's easier to create something with booleans because it's a really fast workflow. You can concept something very quickly and then convert it to sub D. Or you can just start with sub D, like for example, gun handles, and something that's super organic is going to be easier to start with, you know, with extrusions of flat surfaces. And sometimes you need to simply use retopology because mesh is so complicated and so, you know, it does so many details that it would just be a fucking headache to sort of, you know, solve the puzzle of quads on it. So it's easier to run a retopology, it's just faster. Also, you can use tools like, you know, Retopoflow add-on, which is going to make it super easy, okay? Alright guys, well that's it for this one. Like I said, if you want to learn more about hard surface, grab our free course. It's called Jumpstart Hard Surface in Blender. It'll teach you all the basics in just a few hours. Over 80,000 people enrolled into that course and they're absolutely loving it. So go ahead and grab it. The link is in the video description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next one.